What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. This is Toxic Mongoose here. If you are new to the channel, help me get to that 1K subscribers and hit that subscribe button. And today we're working on the cooling system. Alright, just as a reference, pretty much the way I plan on wrapping it is like this, to where the starter's in here and I get the double layer next to the header side. And I'm probably gonna have to buy some metal zip ties in order to keep it in place, but we'll see how it comes out. As you can see right here, I have it wrapped. I have it the way I want it, but the bottom lip comes down on the bottom, and so yeah, as I suspect, I'm gonna go ahead and get a couple metal bands, that way I could wrap it around and tie it down to make sure it stays. But it's on there, and it's a pretty tight fit, as you can see from right in there. Now for the cooling, heater, radiator, all that stuff. I got a bunch of clamps here. I got a I don't know, a radiator splice kit or whatever. Basically so I can cut one of the radiator hoses, make it shorter, and then clamp it on there. I got a couple hoses, some couple general line, and then I have some of my old heater hose that I'm going to use, and then I got one preform, and I probably should have just skipped this one because this one was like 30 bucks at O'Reilly's. That's the number for that. And the way I'm having it run is we'll have, let's see, I have the larger and the smaller. This is what, the 3/4 and the 5/8, and I have an adapter because both of the heater core ones coming out are 5/8. Are they 5/8? No, they're 3/4. Both of these are 3/4, and so I'll have one of the preform ones go on the bottom, that $30 one. It'll come snake around behind here, come down around my temporary fueling, come around here, and then go into this larger one here. I need to cut it, and then I have a 3/4 to 3/4 little plastic extension tubing that I have to go for that. And then this one, I have some of my old, this is going to go to the top. I believe this is correct. I have some of my old heater core line, and it does a 90 out here, comes around here, and then goes to about here. And then I have the smaller 5/8, I guess the roll that I bought, and I'm going to run that from here around here, and then use the adapter fitting. So what I have on here now is this is the 3/4 right here, comes down, it goes out of the firewall around the head down, and then I have this adapter which is a 3/4 of the 5/8. Then I run this into the small port. Then on the bottom, I trimmed this just a little so it fit a little bit closer and missed the head right here. I bring it down. I need to cut it here and then run this preform, and I gotta find my 5/8 to 5, or my 3/4 to 3/4 little tube that I have. Then what I have in store for this one. I don't know if you can use the stock stuff. I don't know where my stuff stuck went. I think I threw the radiator stuff away, but I'm gonna bring these over here, and I have my Mishimoto, and I'm gonna run, I have an 1/8 inch MPT to a barb here. This is what I'm gonna run my steam port to, and I'll bring these hoses over here, and I am going to run, let's say this S1 here, the 22-139. I'm gonna run it from here down to the bottom, and this is the one I'm gonna cut like here, and then cut here, and then shrink it, and then clock it over a little bit so I can get it over here. And then the top one, this is a really short location. It's gonna be a little tricky. I'm gonna have to, it might have a little crease in it. I'm gonna put this one on, crease it a little. I'm gonna have to cut it up here, get the Mishimoto placed there, shorten all of this, get it in there, and then clock it over into there. So those are my plans. Let's see if I can go ahead and get this on. I have the heater hoses ran. They come out of here, they go around, they go under the fuel pressure regulator. They're not too close, but not too far. You know, a couple inches. I'm probably gonna have to wrap those. They come around, down, over here, then they come up, and then in there, with leaving just enough space not to touch the head. So I think I'm gonna have to wrap those, like I said. All right, I'm working on the lower radiator hose bracket. I went ahead and got this, and I cut this off at this end, and this is, it's part of a radiator hose repair kit. I found the right radiator hose size. I'm gonna put this in and we'll cut it, but I wanted to put this in, get it on the lower radiator hose to actually see how much of this we need to cut. So yeah, let me go ahead and get that fitted. For the other side of the 22-139, I'm sure you could find something else that will work better, but on this side I cut down to the bottom of the line, cut that off, and this will go down to the actual, toward the bottom. And I cut a little bit of the top off because this snout is pretty long, and this was really long, and it was end up hitting the edge over here. So now I gotta, since it's such a real pain getting it on and off this housing, I'm gonna go ahead and fit it as best I can on the lower. The lower one is just, it just kind of slides off nice and easy. So let's get it fitted on here, and then get it clocked, and maybe get the clamps on, or get close to getting the clamps. So I end up with something like this that will go down, go in, and then fit in there. So you can see how it goes down in here. There's a slight kink. I think maybe cutting it a little more, because it went to here. I probably could have cut this much more off and had it get a little bit better, but it was such a pain to get on there, so I'm gonna leave it on there now. If it ends up causing an issue, then I'll deal with that then. And then, can you see way down there where it's on? Kind of hard. I still need two clamps. Need to clamp the other side down here and the bottom. With that in mind, though, I can now try to get this hose, this short gap is like this far, much shorter, and plus get the Mishimoto the Mishimoto connector in there as well. With not having a whole bunch of stuff to cut it with, I use my angle grinder and cut. You can see the mess it made, but I was able to cut a big old chunk out and kind of whittle it down and got it into this formation that will fit on. And I'm going to put the brackets on and they get lined up and show you on the car. I have it on. You can see it's pretty close to the tensioner also. I have this steam port I'm going to put in here, but I got it all tightened down and I need to get that on. That right there is what I have over here. I got this 1/8 inch MPT into a bung, and I'll just slip that steam port right on there and use that. I went ahead and connected this, put a little sealant on, or Teflon tape on there, try to keep it sealed. Right now I'm just keeping the throttle out of the cold start thing. I mean, you just got it going in right there. It looks pretty clean. I mean, it could be like an OEM style thing. And yeah, I mean, I think I am pretty much ready. I just gotta put some fluid in, probably try putting some power steering fluid or the manual transmission fluid back in, and yeah, try heat cycling it. I know a lot of people like to use that front where you put the radiator, the top radiator hose. I know a lot of people like to put the cooling, the water temperature gauge there. I didn't like the look, or I didn't want the look of the wire coming off of that and running all the way back, you know, down the car, or having to hide it. So I figure on the back of the head of the passenger side is where I'll put the water temp gauge. That's why it's right near the firewall, and I could just drop it back there and it'll be nice and clean. I wanted the steam port there. It's a high point on the car. You know, I could lift the car up. I lift that, you know, I could just turn that, screw a little bit off and let it drip off, and it's all good. All right, I got a bunch more coming. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.